Okay, Ms. Greer, can you just tell me a little bit about your educational background and your teaching experience?
Yes, I have been teaching for about 21 years, and I started teaching after having worked in industry. My educational experience is, let's see, I have a master's degree in educational leadership and a bachelor's degree in biology and chemistry.
Okay, and your current administrative roles here at Westbury are?
I'm assistant principal for curriculum and instruction, and that is a full-time job, but I'm also teaching part-time.
And what subjects do you currently teach?
I teach biology.
Today I want to just go over a few questions about integrating math and science. What does it mean to you to integrate science and mathematics?
I think that sometimes integration is misinterpreted. I really believe that true integration is utilizing for instance, we're talking about math in science class. When it applies to what I'm teaching, then we do the math. And we don't just come up with the answers, but we have to know how to do the math.
Can you give me an example of that you've experienced, of integrating science and math?
Well, a real easy one would be our work with the metric system, because we work, everything that we do is in metric, and so the students have to understand how to convert, and that's, multiplying and dividing, and being able to use the, what do you call it? Well, being able to convert from one unit to another, mm-hmm. and understanding how the metric system works. Mm-hmm. I have also seen us show them the relationship between the metric units and the standard units that we use in the United States. Calculating percentages and averages and statistics when we're collecting data.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think science and mathematics are related?
Absolutely, they're related. I don't think that you can do good science without the math. Yeah. There's a lot of other fields where you can use math and there not be really any science involved in it, but you can't do science without doing some math.
In what ways do you think integrating science and mathematics would be beneficial for students?
I think it would be beneficial for them because they can see the cross-curricular connections. They can see that what I'm learning in math is going to apply to other things in my life. It goes the same way with writing and with what they're learning in English. So many times our students don't transfer what they learn in one subject to another subject where they need to use those skills.
Is there any way that you can think that integrating science and mathematics would be detrimental for students?
Yes, it could be detrimental where the teacher is not well versed in the mathematical concepts behind what she's teaching, the supporting concepts. And so a concept could be taught incorrectly. There could be shortcuts, as we discussed, earlier this year, that the teacher takes that the math teacher really doesn't want the students to know.
And in what ways do you think, what changes would you need to be made by administration to accommodate more integration of science and mathematics? What are some ways as administrators y'all look to accommodate?
I think that one of the things that we would need to look at is how we train our teachers and how we encourage them to work across the fields, doing some co-curricular, co-curricular is not really the term, but working across the subject areas with other teachers, teaming up through staff development. I think is one area that we can help our teachers, and also in the curriculum that we select to use at our school.
What fields of study do you think require integration of science and mathematics in an everyday application?
Oh, I think all of the science, if you go into any science field, you're going to use math like crazy. Like I told you that I worked in industry before I was a chemist for a refinery. And I had to do calculations like more than I did science.
Yes. What grade, if you do have integration going on in a school, what grade do you think that it should begin at?
I think it should begin early on. Whether it's with graphs and simple percentages or just counting and making graphs, but I think that every every time science is done, if there is an application to what they're doing to math, then it needs to be made obvious.
In your teaching experience, how much integration of science and mathematics have you utilized?
Every opportunity that we get, we're doing math. Every time we have data to collect, we're doing math. So it's probably with almost with every single unit that we teach, there's going to be some math.
Okay. And can you give me an example of one maybe that you can think of?
One that we looked at recently was how much time a cell spends in the various stages of mitosis and the percentages that represents within the life cycle of the cell.
Very good. Do you believe that any of the current TEKS align between science and mathematics?
I think that there is some alignment, but I don't think that it's real obvious. I think that the TEKS are very hard. They're not user-friendly. And they just need to be better.
Yes. What is the biggest obstacle to integration of science and mathematics, in your opinion?
I think the biggest obstacle is resistance, both on the teacher part and the student part. If the teacher's not comfortable with teaching the math, I think the solution would be for them to go to the math teachers and say, this is what we're doing, how can I explain it, or how can you support what I'm doing? Because I'm not sure I can do it. So if you can explain, and I've done that. I've done that when we were doing things like chi-square and these, I remember having to teach environmental science and there was some calculus involved. And I've never had calculus. Okay, so what did I do? I went to the calculus teacher, and then we had some students that had taken calculus, and so we worked through it together. But still, it's important that the students see why it was necessary in that case to do the math. What was the question again?
Biggest obstacle for integration.
and then another obstacle is our students do not want to bring what they learn in one place to another. And I do not know why there's that resistance. But if we can break those walls down, I think it'll make a big difference to the students and their understanding of the material.
Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, Ms. Greer.
You're very welcome.